Strap in, kid.
Welcome to the Very Bad Batch Explosion Week's after show, breaking down, discussing, and reviewing each and every episode of the Disney Plus original Star Wars series, Star Wars: The Bad Batch. My name's Don Blight, and joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Don, I'm excited to be here to talk about this episode of The Bad Batch, because as you know, I live my life 1/4 parsec at a time.
Very good. That sounds like it. Some jokes about pod racing or Fast and Furious. Yep, that'll work. Very good. This week's episode titled Faster, not to be confused with the, I think, 2011 movie Fast, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think that's a film, right? Isn't it called Fast? I can picture the DVD cover. I swear it was The Rock. Was this not a thing?
Yes, I'm trying to quickly...
Is that where the meme comes from, where he's like in the car and he like turns around? That one? I swear it's called Fast.
I looked up Fast Film, and there is a film called Fast Film, so that's not helping.
Well, also, if you type in Fast in the film, it's probably just going to come up with all
Just Fast.
9 Fast and Furious films, so it's probably not going to help. Why do you look that up? Synopsis for this week's episode: the team enters the colourful and dangerous world of racing. It was directed by Steward, written by Jennifer Corbett. You find the answer?
No.
Come on, you're terrible at your job. My synopsis, since I feel like that's what I have to do every week now, is read the given synopsis and then dive into what I would describe the actual what happens in the episode. What happens this episode? Sid needs muscle and pulls in a Mega, Tech, and Wrecker along for a mission to the planet Sapho-Toma, where she's been betting on Teo or Tay Zero to win and make lots of money. I think Sid has a gambling problem, but that's a whole different thing. The droid dies multiple times. Sid nearly dies, or is implied was going to be dead, and then Tack has to step in at the end to prove that he's the it's not about if you win by a second or a mile. Winning's winning. What did you think of this week's episode, Ash?
Okay, first to close the loop, the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie, co-starring Billy Bob Thornton, was Faster.
Wow,
so
I thought
the
it was
exact
called
title.
Fast. It's the exact same title. Okay. I'm glad we found the answer to that.
2010.
2010. Oh, did I say 2011? Fuck. I was pretty close. If we was playing a game, if we was playing like a guess the movie with the release year game, I feel like I'd like surely get good points for being a year off.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. Of course, we'll probably make a bunch of Fast and Furious jokes, but the movie that is most closely related to, in my opinion, the incredibly underrated Speed Racer. Because it's very similar racing styles. It also has like a claw mechanic thing in one of the battles and that kind of stuff. So and as someone who loves that movie, I got a kick out of this. Just a fun like kind of detour, but also plotting the seeds of maybe Sid has some a darker past and maybe is someone that the clones can't trust. Is going to betray them at some point in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a fun episode. It's a nothing episode. However, it's a fun nothing episode. My only I'll get my one, it's not really a complaint. It's just the pacing of this season so far is just all over the place. So we have the two episodes that start season when I come on here and I'm like, man, what a disappointment. This is so bad. Next, the third episode of the season, it's all about, war crimes. And they're like, this is good stuff. And then following the war crimes episode, they're like, here's one about fucking pod racing 2.0. Like, it's just, here's a fun episode.
Star Wars fans are used to that, the Return of the Jedi, End of the Empire, victory for everybody. Finally get the next Star Wars film in the series. It's pod racing. So
true, yeah.
You jump in that film. You jump from trade negotiations, to pod racing.
It's a good point. Yeah, kind of tonally all over the place. Star Wars loves to be tonally all over the place. I thought it was quite entertaining. I liked having the. I don't know if this happened last season, but I kind of like that we split up the Bad Batch into the two little groups, so we get like sort of. I think that's the sort of the problem when you have all 5 and then a Mega plus whoever else is like in that episode as the special guest character or whatever. Then it's just very quickly like some of the Bad Batch obviously stand out and they're the main of that group, whereas splitting them up like this gives a character like Tech, who's probably the least developed out of all of them, a chance to be the star of the show. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm sure in like the Clone Wars, like you loved episodes where it was just focused on one person and there wasn't a huge amount of crossover and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, well, I guess the best episodes of Clone Wars are, focuses on one or two characters at a time sort of thing. It doesn't have these massive. I mean, they have massive episodes too. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I feel like that's a good thing if they're gonna like sort of do that, because now I'm like, okay, cool. So this was like a fun one with these characters. Is next episode they're all together, or are we gonna go across and find out what Hunter's been up to? Like, is that the? I wouldn't mind that.
They were just doing some random fetch quest from the sound of it.
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, it's no better than what these guys were doing, really. So.
There is a long history of racing in the Star Wars universe.
It's true.
So
I thought
it's very fitting.
There's not much to discuss for this episode, obviously, but the shout outs. Ernie Hudson voiced the bad guy character. So
the Greenie Maligi.
Yep.
Maligi?
How did I forget that?
Yeah.
Same race that is one of the Inquisitors, and also the old mate in The Force Awakens who dobs in Rey and team to the Dark Order. So
the one who's giving out the portions. Is that it?
I don't actually know if it maybe he is. I think he probably. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know if he does because he doesn't have the tusks. Or like this.
Doubting.
Yeah, he doesn't have the tusks. So there's definitely an Inquisitor who's the same species. That Inquisitor you fight in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You'd know this if you'd played more than a couple of hours of the game, but that's fine. And I'm the one who hates it, So,
I mean,
so that's fine. But the standout, I guess, for this episode was I did feel like the animation work on the actual races was really cool. Like the sound design was also really awesome. Like just the sound of, and again, that's similar to, I guess, like if you want to compare this to the Phantom Menace, obviously the pod racing sounds really good. I thought the sound design on this sounded really, really good. And then the general just the feel of the races once they were happening felt fast and, beg my pun, furious. But yeah. Anything else?
No. Well, Teo, you're missing the star of the show. Teo, the droid.
Teo? Nah.
You
What a dickhead.
Super confident.
What a dickhead is what I would say for that droid. That part, actually, no, you know what? One of the best jokes this show's ever done was when he was lying on that operating table, I think. That was probably, what's he actually say? He's like, I can't remember now. Like, the way he says, like, he's like, oh, I'll do it this way or whatever. Bloody, I'd have to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
It's a funny pun, though.
That's not how you put my arm socket in or something like that.
Something, that's funny.
Yeah. Voiced by Ben Schwartz. Yeah, so.
I thought I recognized it. Yeah, I forgot to check. There you go. Adds up.
So. I thought it was like a fun time, I love me a sassy droid.
Yeah. He would sound like an
annoying. And then he gets taken out the second time. Hilarious.
Do you reckon they hired him just because he goes fast? They're like, let's have him play a racer.
that's a good, He was blue. I do like the design though, of the head. Like it flips itself over. It doesn't turn in any. Yeah, that's interesting. Bit different.
Yeah, different. All right. I'll do it. Overall thoughts on this week's episode done. Dusted. It wasn't too much to discuss. Yeah, we'll see what happens next week.
What do you think? Is Sid going to turn on the Bad Batch?
Nah. That'll be a long forgotten plot point. They're throwing it out there. Nothing's going to happen with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's a red herring. Nothing's going to go. You know what? If anything from this episode means anything, it's going to be when the bloody Empire, one of them spot a news story where it says someone called bloody Tech won a race on this planet, and then they show his picture winning, and they're like, "Hey, there's them. I thought they were dead." If anything, should have used a fake name or something. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I love the announcer. And tech.
And tech.
Is that it?
Cool. That's it. Yep. Good job, everyone. All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Very Bad Batch. Please subscribe to Holocron Entries, of course, the podcast feed for all of our Star Wars content. Follow our Twitters by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Join Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And if you like this episode and want to tell us, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support to donate as little as $1. And until next week.
I wonder if you know how they race with Teo. If you see me, then you mean it. Then you know you have to go Fast and Furious.